This is it! The big match! The match to end the season! It's the grand finals here in the Cross Progression League Alpha and Omega 2v2 season. I'm supposed to see here. Joining with me is EclipticFades. The progressive division has been going on for quite a couple amount of weeks at this point. You knew this match was coming. Everybody's looking forward to it. All teams that sign up looking forward to a match like this. Only two teams get their chance. This is their chance. The grand finals. There's no match bigger than this.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be a great matchup between two teams that played first in week number 1. So, starting off playing against each other, they're going to be ending their season playing against each other once again. Rain Esports versus KCG Paradox. The last time these guys played, it went all the way to 5. I'm hoping to see a continuation of that. Hopefully, they go to 7 in this one. But I mean, these teams have been dominant in their season. Both of them, barely any losses. I don't think any losses for Rain Esports. And the only loss that KCG Paradox took was against Rain Esports in week number 1. So, with two teams this dominant, I'm just very excited to see what the gameplay is going to look like here on the field tonight.
Yeah, you're already going into the next point I was going to talk about here, and that is how the bracket has looked today. Simply put, just astonishing to see how good these teams have been. You mentioned Rain Esports being perfect in this tournament, undefeated to say the very least, including, again, you mentioned a win against KCG Paradox, who themselves have only suffered that one loss. The playoff itself, though, has been a bit different for these teams. Rain Esports still dominant as usual, took down the Benchwarmers, then took down their semifinals in a 6-game series. It was Paradox who themselves had a bit of a tougher run for themselves. Now, their first win was easier for them. Quarterfinals, a forfeit win. It was their semifinals that was a lot tougher, though. KCG Atmosphere, a team that to take on their Game 7 series. It shows you that regular season, you can kind of throw it all away with the way that these matchups are sort of set up to play. Simply put, if you are to be successful in a tournament like this, you're going to need to be able to play well in playoffs, and these teams have, but playoffs are difficult. You have a whole lot of work to do, a whole lot you need to prepare for, and a whole lot you need to really be able to do in a match like this. But with these teams coming into this grand finals like this, a best of 7 series, playoffs are just a whole different beast here. EclipticFades for these teams. Rain Esports with Killer and Barrett, KCG Paradox with Smokey, Lemon, and Karma. You'd expect the first two to be the ones that play in that Smokey and Lemon. But that's a whole different beast, a whole different situation, a whole different match, if you will. These teams played each other back in week 1. We're a long way away from week 1, and it's always the cliche. I hate when casters say this, but in many ways, anything can happen. This is a different match, a different situation, and who knows, for KCG Paradox, they're hoping it's a different result.
Yeah, of course. And you also got to think about the maybe not so much pressure that the teams are going to be thinking about going into this match, but also just the monetary value that this match has. Winner of this is going to get $90. So, I mean, first time money's been on the line for these guys. They had to fight through an entire season in a very rough bracket to make it all this way. And for KCG Paradox, having to take out their other clanmates in KCG Atmosphere, representing the entire KCG clan in this finals, I wonder if there's any pressure on these guys to kind of perform for those that they had to take out on the way.
You often think that when there's more people watching, there's more pressure. But the thing about these teams, reminder, they've had to do that this whole season. This Paradox team didn't just join KCG; they've been on KCG. So for any team that has just joined an org, there's that extra pressure. But for them, they're not going to feel that. I really don't think pressure is going to be the big thing here for KCG. The difference I do think, though, is going to be experience in a match like this. This is a Rain Esports team that is very experienced in tournaments, very experienced playing against teams better than them. They're known for that kind of stuff. Be in a division like this against, being in the favorites in many ways. A lot of teams talk about them being the favorite coming this season. They've proven that over and over again. They've got the experience of being in matchups like these, being in longer rounds, being in tournaments against better teams. Obviously they're the favorite in this matchup, so this is a different situation for them than what I normally see them in a lot of their weekly tournaments. But it's a team that, again, is going to have that experience. So experience-wise, it favors Rain Esports. For Paradox, though, I don't think pressure is going to be a big problem for them as well. KCG as an org, they're definitely ones they're definitely going to be pressure to that, but I really don't think it's going to be any added pressure to KCG. They're used to having eyes on them. They're used to having people watch them, and being able to build up that kind of resistance to outside pressure, that means in a grand finals like this, the pressure's really going to be on themselves and on the game, not so much on the people watching.
Well, we do have everybody in the lobby, so I think we're going to be getting started soon. I'm not sure. Is there anything else to discuss before we get this match started?
I'm checking to see if there's anything else to discuss here. What one thing I can discuss though, KCG. This is actually I think their only team that's made it to a finals in any. Sorry, this is their second team that's made it to the finals in any division. The other being KCG, KCG Redacted, who actually I had on stream last week, losing in their divisional finals, a 4-1 loss. So in the liminal division. So for KCG, for an org that has probably might have the most teams in this tournament, which I guess is not a surprise to anyone here. They haven't actually been able to win yet here, and that's something that for KCG, that at least they're looking into, seeing if they can turn around. An org so big, you would expect someone to win. Not always a guarantee, though. It's about being the very best. It's about being at the top of the division. And here we go, the top of the division here for KCG, KCG Paradox and Rain Esports. It's one best-of-7 series. It's Rain on the blue. It's KCG on the orange. Glory awaits, but only for one team, and only one match to determine if you deserve it.
And let's get started. A great best-of-7 ahead of us, hopefully going all the way, but we got to get through this first game, see what these guys are cooking up. So far, good pressure for Paradox on the opening as the shot goes in quickly from Smokey, and that's going to be the first one on the board for KCG Paradox.
So often we talk about game one being a warm-up game because typically in the grand finals you don't see rematches. This is a bit of a different match. This is a rematch. These teams know each other, but not the way you would expect. Again, they last played back in week 1. It was close. It was competitive. Rain Esports did win. But again, I mentioned, and we've been reiterating this over and over again, we are many weeks away from week 1. In many ways, this is going to be a warm-up match for these teams. Unlike what I mentioned earlier, they're still going to get used to each other. These teams are completely different. We've had months of separation. Rain Esports will get the equalizer, but expect the very early part of this game 1 to be both teams posturing into putting themselves into a position to be successful. Not now, but later in the series when it matters more to really have a game plan.
Off the kickoff. Gonna look like Killer with possession. Trying to get a pass into the midfield. Karma with a good defensive block. Smokey not gonna have a lot of boost. He's just gonna have to clear this downfield. Barrett out from his own corner. Can he get past Smokey? Good touch pass 1. Gets no reset, actually. And Karma going to be able to clear that out. Has to take a bit of a controlled touch. Barrett waits in the midfield. Tries to pounce on it. Not going to be able to get possession here. And KCG Paradox, they're finding some chances with controlled plays. I wonder if they're going to continue doing that more and more into the series.
I mean, you always want to control the ball in the grand finals like this. Mistakes are going to happen, and plenty of them. Every single grand finals I've seen, you've seen players make mistakes. You've seen nerves show up. So it's really going to be about putting as much as you can in your own control rather than your opponent's control. That's at least going to be in the minds of these players. And of course, preventing any errors, because mistakes are going to happen. Everybody's going to have a couple of them. There's no such thing as a player that plays better under pressure. I know people talk about it. There's no such thing. You're almost certainly going to be playing worse. If not, maybe you play at the same level. Comes down to not making mistakes as Rain. No mistake there! It's a drop-down double tap from Barrett. And the first lead for Rain Esports of the Blue.
What an absolute banger that second touch was. Just enough to get past Smokey, and then he has a really good angle to shoot. Top of the net, not even hitting the crossbar. Not an easy touch to make, but for Rain Esports, definitely one that they're more than used to taking. Now off the kickoff, they're going to try and move their lead forward by a good offensive demo coming out, but Rain Esports now going to have to retreat. Karma up in the air, gets one touch, but it looks like Barrett just going to be able to wait down for this follow-up and take it back off of his own wall. Killer going to have possession here. Smokey not the best 50 as it's going to leave it up for Barrett. Double tap down, but not close enough to the net to make Smokey scared of it.
Ooh, mistake there will be Karma. An interesting game here for certain. I was honestly expecting Lemon to play in this series for KCG, but it's one of the things this season. I know Lemon, at least personally, another caster here in the Cross Progression League, he's known to have a pretty, well, let's just say, difficult schedule to work with. as well. I've gotten to see that firsthand, just how rough his schedule can be. So the thing about KCG Paradox here is the familiarity with Lemon isn't really there, but is there between Smokey and Lemon. But Karma as well has got to be pretty comfortable being with Smokey. He's certainly had to play a good amount of weeks with this team as well. So in many ways, coming into this match, it's Karma and Smokey, it's a duo that's going to be very comfortable here for KCG. You can see Rain Esports trying to shake that away from them. We'll have an open backfield. Smokey's able to get it away, and KCG just looking for any good signs late. Barrett with the touch. Killer's going to have a tough time catching up here, and Barrett's in trouble. Shot is there. It's on, but it's not strong enough. Smokey will keep the ball for now, but Rain Esports clear it away. Into the final 90 seconds, it's KCG needing a goal, a rather low-scoring game one, not too surprising. And a match this, I wouldn't even say passive, just this cagey from both these teams. Something's got to go. Oh, it's going to be the rotation! An open net for Karma. You don't get many easy goals in the playoffs, but that one for Karma, he's going to think it's his birthday because it's a gift wrapped with a bow on top of it and sent straight to his front door.
And Barrett pushing a little bit too far forward on that move forward from his teammate. Just going to find himself a bit out of position. And something I always like to talk about is how I'm my own worst enemy in this sort of game. And kind of the same for Rain Esports there. They have a lot of the pressure. They have a lot of the momentum. And then they give away a bit of a free goal. They're going to have to shake that one off so they don't have a bad start to this first game in the best of 7. But now Barrett has a chance for a flick a little bit too high, and Killer is going to have to wait back. He doesn't want anything to pass him, but now another chance for Rain Esports, and they will convert. Barrett gets the third, and they're up by 1 with 53 seconds remaining.
Rain Esports love to play one-on-one right now. They know they're the higher-ranked team in this matchup, in this division. Part of the problem for teams like Rain Esports in a tournament like this is that they're able to play one-on-one and win those challenges more often than not. For KCG Paradox, there's two ways to beat that. Either you gotta be comfortable one-on-one. You can't be making mistakes like that. It's gonna be 4-2 here, the first 2-goal lead for Rain in this matchup. But for KCG, there's two ways to beat a team that's gonna try to beat you one-on-one like that. Either you gotta be the better one-on-one team, or you can't give them those one-on-one looks. You gotta be playing a little bit closer in those rotations. Either option may work for them here, but you'd imagine in a matchup like this, you're gonna more likely see, especially if KCG Paradox can be successful, that they will take the one-on-one chances and try to play better themselves. It's a great shot for Smokey. KCG still in this one, and right on cue as well, one-on-one here. Smokey does not disappoint, a perfectly placed shot.
Perfect timing there, just playing it patient until Barrett has to jump for that ball, and then can just place it right behind him. He was in a rough spot off of the kickoff anyway. And now KCG off the kickoff once more, another shot to the top post. Karma going to tie this one up with 38 seconds left. This is just an amazing couple of plays from KCG Paradox to tie up this game.
Did it as well. What a great duo up the kickoff here. KCG giving themselves hope. This is a game mode where those kind of comebacks do happen. Now it really is anybody's game here. Will now fall for Karma. 30 seconds left to play in regulation. Maybe a chance for someone to be the winner. Barrett won't be the one there, and Killer's not even gonna go for this one. He's in no man's land. He's gotta get up to this one quickly. So surprised he played that defensively in that challenge. He had a free touch if he wanted it. Those nerves coming into play late in this game. Now their chance. It's laid out in front. Smokey went for the boost. He won't win that challenge. And Esports has got KCG tied up. Killer, the Puerto Rican, taken away by Karma. Now up by Smokey. It's a giveaway touch, a careless play. Here goes Rain with the last chance. Karma keeps it out for now. Killer needs a little bit of support. He'll go himself. Easily kept out by Smokey, though. And we have overtime here in game one. A game in many ways that started out as a feeler game. Both teams sort of getting used to each other. Now goes into overtime. No more questions now. No more time to really try to understand your opponent. This is go time. If you haven't had a game plan yet, you better have one now. Because this match and this ending really deserves one.
Of course, game number one going to go to overtime. Both these teams playing so close to each other. And at first, it looked like Rain Esports was going to have the advantage in this overtime, but they're not really finding the looks that usually come to them. Having to put this one off the backboard. Smokey not going to get a touch on this one. It allows Killer to move up inch by inch as they look for that orange net. Smokey going to clear this long. Killer grabbing that boost, and you saw Barrett won the mid boost. That's going to allow Rain Esports to push up even further. That's a great 50, but Karma going to be in the way to block this one. Smokey just going to take this long clear downfield. Barrett just going to have to put it over to his own corner, and Killer follow up. But these touches are getting really far away from Rain Esports, and KCG Paradox have been doing a good job clearing this into space. But that's going to be a huge shot, and Barrett takes the game for Rain Esports.
You were just talking about the heavy touches here. Finally, we see a little bit of control from Rain Esports. Barrett with the drop down, and the overtime winner in game 1. Definitely a nervy game for both these teams. Definitely didn't get to see the best, what we're used to from these sides. So often in the grand finals, it's not about the better team winning. It's about the team that handles the pressure that's going to win here. Rain Esports definitely showed that. I think until overtime, they were the team that looks more calm considering the circumstances. But if they are to win this series, if either of these teams are to win this series, they're going to need to look a lot more comfortable as this series goes on.
Yeah, and Rain Esports, they've definitely looked very comfortable when it comes to these backboard double taps. They've been scoring quite a few of them. I think the second and third goal that they got came from that, as well as this last goal. It's definitely a position that if you're KCG Paradox, you're going to have to work on that backboard defense and just make sure that you're not giving Rain Esports the space to pull off those sort of maneuvers.
And as well, you can't give this Rain Esports team too much room to work. Again, one-on-one, they clearly are comfortable to play one-on-one. It's one of those situations where you give Rain Esports space to play one-on-one, and I know KCG Paradox feels comfortable they can play one-on-one. They're going to need to do a little bit better one-on-one. By the end of the game, I think we saw them play it even, but it just came down to them being the more nervous team, and I think, yeah, you said it, losing a couple key plays and challenges. Rain Esports only winning by 1 goal, though. I think many people expect this team to come into this tournament, dominate throughout. That's clearly not going to be the case, at least not yet. As we'll go into game 2 here. That's continuing, but at this point, you know, starting typically games 2 or 3, you start to see one team start to pull away from the other, start to take control. This is where Rain Esports can do that. They already have a game advantage, so they can absolutely add to it here, but KCG Paradox keen to tie this game up, not let them have a chance. There goes Rain Esports, another heavy commit, by the way. They've been going for a lot of heavy commits upfield. They gotta be careful they don't overcommit on too many of these challenges, because if not, KCG can score, and they really should have scored there. Still in front. Will be an easy one for Barrett. Probably should have been a goal for KCG, considering what was happening back there. Rain Esports got away with one.
And it's kind of heartbreak for Paradox in that situation. They just didn't have the boost that was necessary to put that in the back of the net, and it was rolling on that goal line. No opposition there to defend. Really shows how important it is to save up as much boost as possible. Even picking up one pad could make the difference there in that situation. But they're going to have another try at this. But Smokey, once again, no boost. Killer able to win 2 50s in a row. He's not going to have much boost because he can still put it mid. Goes for the shot instead, and it's actually just a little bit too wide. But Rain Esports looking dangerous, coming down with the counterattack.
I love the shot from that position. I mean, he knows KCG Paradox isn't expecting it either. That's why he goes for it. They're not covering the front post. He absolutely can score if he puts it on target. A little wide, but the right idea here. That's not the right idea, though. It's open. Missed. In the net for Karma. Well, a big mistake for Rain Esports. They've had all this offense. It feels so similar to Game 1. Careless mistakes, hurting them at terrible times. They've had all this pressure. You think about those mistakes, they're really going to haunt you at the end of games like these, especially if these games aren't as close as they have been so far. Really just a tough mistake to have, but in a grand finals like this, you make an error like that, expect it to go in your net.
Even then, Killer trying to make up for that mistake with the demo, but unable to find it before that shot goes in. Now, another mistake coming out from Rain Esports means Killer has to dive in for the save, but an overcommit from KCG Paradox. It goes the other way just so easily, and we're at a tied game here.
Yeah, definitely a disappointing situation for Paradox. All the defense they've had, and you said it, overcommits. Oftentimes, the goals that are going to go in matchups like these, and matches far into playoffs, and you've seen this yourself as well. They're not pretty, they're not clean, they really aren't like highlight worthy either. They just go in. That's really all you're looking at here at this point in playoffs. They all count the same, and I often think playoffs itself is often decided by the team with the scrappy goals, because simply put, it's about scoring more. It's not about how you get those goals. You can make it look as pretty as you want it to, but let's be realistic. The teams that win typically win in the more just taking advantage of errors It's a great touch, though, from Karma. This is a really good recovery, by the way, up the side wall. I had questions about Karma coming into this matchup. He's a solid player. I've seen him before. I had questions about whether or not him or Lemon would be playing today, and of course he's making a good argument for himself. So far this series, really, Karma's been kind of standing out as kind of the player to watch out for right now on KCG.
Yeah, he's had some really great recoveries. He's been putting in some very well-placed shots. He's been doing a great job making a name for himself in this grand finals, but they still need to get a game win on the board. They have just under half of the game and a 1-goal lead, possibly 2. However, put away by Killer. Smokey going to try and take possession here, but he has to race for that mid boost and unable to find it. Now Karma keeping it midfield. Pressure still on the side of KCG Paradox. However, they let the ball go a little bit too long, and when you're Rain Esports, that's the ball that you jump on immediately, as they did. And now KCG Paradox in a rough situation as this is flying towards their net once again, just a little bit off to the side. The Killer has the demo. He has the corner boost. He can't find the net, but the pressure starts to mount again for Rain Esports.
Yeah, the problem with Rain Esports right now is that their offense just hasn't been able to stay upfield for so long. They've definitely looked a lot more uncomfortable this game. They just haven't been able to make as much happen. And you can tell, like, just by the way that their body language looks, they just don't feel comfortable as much being as aggressive as they have been before. They're so used to being the aggressive team, to just going up, taking chances instead. Oh, they're making some careless touches. This should be 3-1. Oh, it's not going to fall that way. Smokey towards the net, an easy one for Killer to get to. Rain Esports, plays like those aren't exactly inspiring confidence in them. Barrett, playing for Killer, just needs some time upfield. Smokey missing the corner boost. It will leave the ball out for Rain Esports to collect. If he gets the corner, I think he dribbles that ball out instead. Barrett, gonna go 1-on-2, will force out the play. KCG waiting back, in goes Killer, the 50-50 outward. All Rain Esports trying to do right now is sauce up that second player for an easy follow-up shot. They haven't been able to get that kind of look just yet, but with time running out, it's not about the look anymore, just about getting something to go. Barrett, trying to find Killer. Just nothing working right now for Rain. Karma's gonna clear. KCG Paradox at least give themselves some time to breathe.
And they're going to have to go up again quickly as Rain Esports continuously push goal after goal, shot after shot. It's getting really awkward for KCG Paradox if they're using up all their boost. Barrett is able to grab the mid once again, but he gets beaten out. Now Smokey trying to put a final nail in this game, but unable to find the net. Last 10 seconds, can Rain Esports mount a comeback here? Barrett into the midfield, big 50 to the corner of KCG Paradox, but Killer's going to get the touch. Smokey with the save, and that's going to be it for game number 2. We're in a tied series.
Yeah, a better game for KCG, a worse game for Rain Esports. Simply put, KCG started taking more initiative. You saw them get a little more comfortable. That lead that they got early in this game really did the work for them to not let them panic as much. Definitely a strong game. We talked a lot about Karma's ability to step up, but for Rain Esports, definitely a bit of a downtrend here in this game. Just felt like a team a lot more scared, a lot more kind of in their own head. A lot less offense, too, from them. They just did not look like the same team that we saw before. And simply put, it's about consistency. And so often in playoffs, we talk about consistency. We mean it when we talk about consistency here. That was an inconsistent-looking game for Rain Esports. Definitely a different game and a downtrend, a regression, if you will. In terms of having the offensive pressure, they didn't have as much this game. They didn't use as much this game. They're going to have to find it again here going into Game 3. We know they can do it, and even in the early part of the game, they did it. I think that overcommit, though, that overcommit goal that KCG Paradox had on them early, that really convinced Rain Esports to not commit up anymore. And you saw by the end of this game, they just weren't willing to take as many chances, and their offense suffered.
Yeah, absolutely agree. And there were definitely some times where I think their shots could have just been placed a little bit better, but they are going to have multiple more chances to find these goals as we get into game number 3. Another 5 minutes on the clock, another chance for either of these teams to go up into the series with the lead. Will KCG Paradox be able to take their momentum from the last game and use it here? It looks likely, but Barrett is going to get a much-needed touch back to his own corner. Going to take possession. Doesn't hit the ceiling, so he can take the reset and fake it down to the ground. Good pass to Killer, and this is the Rain Esports that we've been waiting for.
Yeah, but that shot needs to be better. That's a play where I think Killer expects himself to score, and as I would as well expect Killer to score in that position. Now an overcommit. Oh, that's a careless mistake for Rain Esports. Every time they seem to get offense, it's one of these kind of plays for them, where they just do something they're not supposed to do. Barrett, I'm surprised Barrett goes for that challenge. He sees Killer's in front of him, and Barrett has to know that Killer's already up in the air. He's not going to pull off the ball in that position. It's not a clear fake position either. Really careless from Rain Esports, and every time they look like they're doing something good, something like that seems to be their downfall. KCG Paradox are more than happy to clean up when Rain Esports leave one open.
Oh, this might be an overcommit from Paradox, though, and it is. Barrett notices the tiny amount of time that he has to take this shot and nails it all the way down the field. That is not a goal that you want to give up if you are KCG here.
KCG was on low boost in that position, too. One player at 0, the other at 25. Both starved to boost and expecting that Rain Esports would try to control it out of the defense. It's one of those situations where somebody's got to be a net. You never want to leave the net open like that, and especially on low boost, it means it's going to be even tougher to recover. In that position, KCG's got to realize they got to go for boost pads. You can't be pulling away for the corner boosts, taking the full boost back there unless you're all the way back in defense. Just too risky, and it takes you out of the play, and you see both of that there for KCG, and in a series like this, it's really not been the pretty goals that have won anything. It's been the scrappy goals. It's been recognizing errors. It's been being able to not make those mistakes yourself. What a shot, though! Barrett with the one. He slams it in the top left corner. Well, the series has been marked by mistakes. That is not a mistake from Barrett. Up quickly, in the net, no chance to save.
That placement to the top left corner is absolutely unbelievable. Of course, Rain Esports easily able to pull that off, just waiting for that second man to come forward, waiting for their opportunity where no one's in the back of the net, and they snipe the goal. But now they have to fight off of this kickoff, and that's going to be another huge mistake from Rain Esports as KCG Paradox get a bouncing ball to tie this one.
Well, it's a tough position for Killer. It's one I wouldn't even call a mistake necessarily, mostly because it's so tough to save those kind of flip reset plays. He's the only one back, so he has to win the goal line. If he had a teammate with him, he's jumping early, and he's forcing out the flip. Instead, he's got to wait in the net, so flip or not, he sort of has to guess where the ball's going to go in that position because of how close KCG is. That's really all on KCG, putting the ball close to the net and making it tough to read. Well, that probably should have gone in for Barrett. A big chance wasted. But again, for Rain Esports, you won't feel bad about missing one of those because you're waiting in net. You expect the flip reset to be connected in that position as well. In fact, at this level, you more players fake it in that position because the flip reset is typically expected in that kind of position. So you go for the unexpected play, you go for the fake. That wasn't meant to be a fake for KCG, but again, that's why that works so well at this rank level, as that's a big misplay. It's gonna go in. Well, it's a easy one for Smokey. That one is a mistake. Barrett, you wonder what he was thinking there going up the ceiling like that. Normally a very easy play for him, but he makes an absolute mess of it.
I feel like he might have wanted just a bit of a softer, more controlled touch off of the ceiling. Maybe try to come off of the ceiling and flip it into the midfield, but it's not going to work out. These touches, they can be really tough to get, and KCG Paradox, they are playing these touches so well and taking advantage of these weird rotations back. Obviously, if you're Killer, you have to take the 50 there, but Carmine just such a good spot for it. They're going to be able to roll another one in, up by 2. I think this is the first time we've seen KCG lead by 2 goals in this series, and it seems like they're using their momentum from Game 2 very well in this one.
Still half the game to play, but Rain Esports definitely looking like they're kind of treading water at this point. Really struggling to just get anything going for themselves, and you talk about that momentum, it feels like a continuation from Game 2. KCG recognizing the mistakes from Rain Esports as there's another one. It's going to go back towards net. Nearly a 5th goal there. One of these goals this game have been rather disappointing plays for a Rain Esports team, usually so consistent. I talked about experience in a match like this. I thought this experience would favor Rain Esports, considering the circumstances. Clearly, I was wrong. KCG look like the better team right now. That's an open net, though, for Barrett. It's an aggressive push for Rain Esports, one that, well, Karma wasn't ready for. It's not a great play from Smokey, to be fair, but it's one that Karma has to go for. I'm sure he was expecting the pass as well. Rain Esports do well to catch it. Still 2 minutes to go, and while this game has not exactly been pretty for Rain Esports, the nice thing is they're still in it. This is not over.
And that is the thing about Rain Esports, and we've seen it time and time again. They do go down in games, but they always find those last-minute goals to kind of tie it up and then take it to an OT. Definitely give them the chance here, especially with a minute 47 seconds left. However, these 50s from KCG Paradox have been so dangerous, and they haven't even really been doing too much. They've mainly just been sitting behind the ball and waiting for the Rain Esports Challenge to come in. However, that's going to lead to an unfortunate situation, but what a save from Karma, bouncing on the goal line. That should have been the tying goal for Rain Esports, but we still have a 1-goal lead for KCG.
Yeah, he's talked about it as well. A little fortune there for KCG Paradox. They'll need all they can get, considering how late this game is. Another chance for Barrett, trying to get a dunk on Smokey. It won't connect. Killer, the only one waiting. Away. Smokey should have gone for that touch. He had Karma right behind him. Instead, Rain, ooh, it's a poor touch, will go towards the net. An easy one for Barrett to collect. Smokey on no boost will leave the plate for Karma. Vacating the field. Killer! Oh, too slow! KCG with an open backfield. They can make it 5-3. Shots on target. Easy one. Up for Barrett. He does get there. Killer jumps in. Will he bear it again? Low boost, though. Rain Esports in a whole lot of trouble here. Up goes Killer. Now he gets around Smokey. He'll play this one his way. Getting rid of one. He's going to look for Karma as well. Barrett. Reset. Second touch. And he is straight at Karma. The angle too shallow to really make anything work of it. 30 seconds to go now. KCG still looking for that last goal. They gotta be careful they don't push up too high. Karma up the back wall. Smokey doesn't connect on the redirect here. It will be Rain Esports who took a little too much time. Another 50-50 challenge. Karma to take it. It's 5-3. Rain Esports weren't paying attention. What a smart heads-up play from Karma, and another 50-50 he will win. And for Rain Esports, almost certainly at this point, another game that they will lose.
And the slight hesitation there from Killer is all that is needed for KCG Paradox to find that goal. Able to get more of a favorable 50 with just that slight extra time given to take control of that ball. However, we're not done yet. 2 seconds left and Rain Esports find a 4th goal. Are we going to see something come out of this next kickoff?
I'm surprised that Karma's even attempting to try to clear the ball in that position. All he's got to do is take the 50-50 and he's fine. I think that's actually what he tried to do there. He just miscaught it. KCG Paradox, if they give up a goal here, there will be one of the biggest chokes in this tournament. Oh, they'll let the ball hit the ground there up the kickoff. A scary situation for KCG Paradox. They did all that work to get themselves in the lead. 12 seconds left. Typically a position you're supposed to win in rather comfortably. They didn't make it so, but a win's a win. They're up 2-1 in the series, and for the first time tonight, KCG Paradox take the lead in the match.
And KCG Paradox, they're looking really, really good. And as we said, this is the underdog team in this specific matchup, and they've been showing up, and Karma specifically has been such a good player for this squad right now. I think this was a perfect time to bring him in, and I think KCG Paradox is going to be very happy with that decision as well. Just so many awkward situations for Rain Esports, though, and they're just not handling it as easily as I'm used to them seeing them handle these situations.
Yeah, it is. I think for Rain Esports, just, again, a couple careless plays. This is definitely a KCG Paradox team that isn't afraid of them. That's one of the big things, too. But with the way that Rain Esports plays, how aggressively they push up, they want you to fear them. That's definitely a playstyle where it's one where you want to make your opponents fear them. Because the mistakes combined with KCG Paradox just having a good defensive structure and being a little more consistent, KCG right now just don't fear Rain Esports. They don't consider Rain Esports that much of a threat, so you're seeing them more willing to jump upfield, take these challenges, get to the ball in time, and capitalize on when the mistakes do show up for Rain Esports. I mean, Rain Esports are going to be disappointed. They've not been as consistent as they should be in a match so far, but whatever, it's also KCG Paradox. They've got the right mindset coming in this matchup. That's a mindset of knowing that they've got a real chance in this thing. Not only do they have a chance now, they're the team right now that's playing better, as you mentioned. Coming into Game 4, this will be a big point for Rain Esports, because if there's any time to turn the series around, this, you have to feel, would be it. Losing a game here, going down 3-1, such a tough position to come back from, and especially for a Rain Esports team that has to consider that the losses they've had so far have been, at least in some part, self-inflicted.
What a huge bump from Smokey, but Karma doesn't have any boost, can't really push forward on this play. Now, over the corner, Killer going to have to take that back and take possession, but a huge overcommit from KCG Paradox. Karma was still in the opposing side, and that's going to be the first goal for Killer, and it was kind of handed to him on a silver platter here.
Yeah, it is. Great clear from Killer. Just good recognition. Recognize that KCG are pushing all players upfield in that spot. Again, they're not going to be pretty. That's the thing that we got to keep mentioning here. They're not going to look good. They're not going to be highlight reel type goals. This comes down to putting it in the net when you need to here, as it will be KCG the other way. It's Karma, and it's just kept out by Barrett. Killer, a good amount of boost to work with too. He'll get a touch down the field. Karma does read it well. Barrett to follow. That's on target. Smoke in a bad spot. He was well out of his net there. Really allowed himself to be in a much tougher position. He does get the save, but it's Rain Esports starting to rally.
Barrett just taking a few good 50s. Trying to get possession into the other corner. He does so. Pass down to Killer, but Karma going to reach that ball first. Gonna grab this mid boost. What can he do with a full tank? Doesn't look like much, as he's just gonna have to give possession back over to Barrett. Demo, but it's not gonna do much as Killer is already looking for the shot. That's just gonna be a free rotation back for Barrett, but they're hunting him on the goal line. Can't find him, but the shot is found by Karma. Excellent double tap to tie up this game.
What a beautiful cross-mat play for Karma. Who says that these playoffs aren't pretty? That was a thing of beauty. 1-1 tied KCG. Well, if there's anyone to get the goal clearly this series, it's been Karma, the guy who I've had the most questions about. He's been the one to step up in the moments here. Although that's not a step-up play, a bad kickoff for Karma. He'll get back, big bump as well. The net is open. Smokey to roll. It will get bumped, but it won't stop him. It's 2-1 up. KCG score again. While Smokey may be given the credit, it's Karma with the huge bump to leave the net open.
Talk about a playmaker here. He's scoring the goals, and then off of a bad kickoff, still gets the recovery, gets the perfect bump to allow his teammate free access to the back of Rain Esports net. And now up by 2 once again in Game 4. These guys are looking to end this series early and go up to match point, but they still have about half the game where they have to defend against this Rain Esports, who have shown that they can get these goals on net. They just need to be given the space and the chance. They're not finding it this time, as Killer not going to be able to get it. Barrett with possession though, gets a reset. Smokey's low on boost, but Barrett can't find the back of the net here. And Karma able to clear it out once again, but Killer takes possession. Killer once again trying for the flip reset, but can't get back to that ball bounce in time. And now Barrett going to have to pass it again. We're seeing a lot of pressure for Rain Esports, but we're not seeing too much threat on the net.
Little boost as well for KCG. That was a perfect chance for Rain to score. They'll go again. Net's open. Oh, they missed wide left. The net was open for them. They may get another look at this momentarily here. It goes back to their corner. KCG Paradox spent a good amount of time defensively on no boost. And we talk about defense winning championships. KCG's defense is putting in a whole lot of work right now. They're still stuck. They'll be flipped up high. An easy read for Barrett. Rain Esports, though, as you mentioned here, Fades hasn't been able to pull the trigger right now. Just too much waiting, not enough taking. They gotta start being a little bit more mean in the way that they take these chances. Will be cleared away. Double commit for Rain. Chance for Smokey. It's just popped to the back wall for Barrett to collect. Killer to follow. Oh, he doesn't recover well. This should be an easy touch for Karma. And he may even get a shot on the end of this. Barrett almost getting taken out. Still moving it is Karma. He won't get a shot on the end of the play, but he at least forces out Rain Esports. Killer, 2-on-1. Barrett's there as well. Killer to the back wall. Karma's got a full tank of boost. An easy touch to make. Rain Esports still not with anything right now. Every time they go upfield, just feels like they are hitting a wall right now. This KCG team setting up such a good defensive line. And Rain Esports, part of the reason they've not been able to score much in many ways, at least later as the series has gone on, has been KCG Paradox's unwavering testament to be able to keep the ball out of the net.
Yeah, it's absolutely made it so difficult for Rain Esports to find anything in this series. After that first game, it just seems like the defense for Paradox has gotten better and better. They know what they need to defend against the most. They know which shots are going to be a threat and which are just going to be low effort. And they're taking advantage. And here we go once again. Barrett trying to take it out of his own corner, but Smokey already up on the wall. And what an excellent read to get past Killer there. KCG Paradox have 18 seconds before they're on match point. Can Rain Esports find a 2-goal comeback?
They'll need to go score up this kickoff as well. That's the big thing. Well, they may not get their chance after all. It's Smokey. Still Smokey. Oh, what a great flick. It is Karma to end this game right there. He won't get it. but it won't matter. Time's run out. KCG Paradox, maybe despite all the analysts have said before the match, are on triple match point. What an unbelievable turn of events for them here. 3 straight wins, and Rain Esports, well, we talked about them being in trouble coming into this game. If they weren't in trouble before, they're in dire straits now.
And we were talking earlier before this series, talking about how KCG has so many teams in this league all together throughout every single division, but they had not found a win yet. This looks like their best chance to do so, and they are taking advantage of it, as Smokey and Karma have been running circles a little bit around Rain Esports' defensive line, and Rain Esports just hasn't been able to find the offensive pressure needed.
You said it as well. It's not even that. It's the defense for KCG Paradox. It's been the difference maker, this thing. These teams both have an offense that's not been bad. It's not been amazing. I think it's an offense that's been okay. KCG Paradox, though, has a defense that's been playing spectacularly. Rain Esports, they have made a couple mistakes that have proven to be really costly. Those mistakes get magnified when you are having a tough time scoring, as they are. So credit to KCG. So many positions where you think Rain Esports, with the skill they have, should be able to find the nets. And so many situations where they have proven time and time again, they just know how to handle that kind of pressure. They've looked good. They've looked solid. And now we go into Game 5 here, where for Rain Esports, it's must-win territory. You lose this, and you get no more chances to play in this grand final. Of KCG Paradox, triple match point. We've seen teams lose from this position before, though. They can't get overconfident.
This is exactly where I expect to see Rain Esports start bouncing back into the series. They got to have the ice. They got to have the composure to take on KCG Paradox as well as they've been in the defense. There have still been cracks. They just need to find a few more and try to do it fast, as they really don't want to give KCG any goals, especially with how low scoring this series has been. 1 or 2 goals in the back of your net might spell series and playoffs defeat for Rain Esports, and already we're seeing some pressure coming out for KCG Paradox, as Smokey going to be able to grab the corner boost and try to grab this ball away. It's going to go to Karma instead. Karma, MVP performance coming out from him as he tries to rip a shot into the corner, but it's going to be saved away by Killer. Barrett now has it off to the side, pass over to Killer, and a counterattack for Rain Esports, but once again, a little bit high, and Killer unable to get that, and that's something we've been seeing a lot from Rain Esports in this series.
Yeah, it has. You said it as well, just missed chances at times. And I think I've also noticed from Rain Esports, we haven't talked about it as well, has been, they've gone down, whenever they go down, that's when those mistakes happen. We've talked a lot about mistakes. We haven't talked about the situation of those mistakes. So often the other team that starts to make those mistakes, starts to overcommit to things, starts to really put more pressure on themselves when they are down in games. So being able to get the first goal here will be huge for Rain Esports. It won't happen, though! Net's left open, a perfectly timed bump, and it's Karma. Who else to take the first goal in this Game 5?
And Karma gets the demo, dodges the bump from Killer at the last second, and still finds the net on an awkward ball. As I said, MVP performance coming out from this player, and we didn't even know he was going to be here at the start of this day. Might be able to find a second off the kickoff, and it's going to be to the top corner. Karma takes KCG Paradox up by 2.
Well, Rain Esports have gone for the fake kickoff a couple times tonight. This one will not fall for them, and it's a perfect shot from Karma. I mean, what are you supposed to do about that, Rain Esports? And as I said, I think they try to force things whenever they go down in games. They're down in this game. You can already tell off the kickoff. They're trying to force something. You're not typically going to win games when you try to force offense against your opponents. You just got to let the plays kind of come naturally, as that one nearly fell in for Smokey. Barrett will hold, and Rain Esports need to think of something fast. That KC Paradox defense has been good. It's a really good dribble from Barrett, though. He catches them out of position. He saw where the challenge was coming. It was coming from the corner here, out of Karma, so he knew that left side is open. That bottom part of the net has a vulnerability. Well taken from Barrett. It's such a tough skill to do, to air dribble the ball and turn your position in midair like that, but he gets it done, and he gives his team a chance.
And that's a position that we haven't really seen Rain Esports in too much, taking it on a solo play air dribble instead of maybe a pass or a pop off of the backboard. And maybe that's what Rain Esports needs to consider more as their main source of attacking, as that's the one thing that's really gotten past these guys. The passing plays have not been working, as you see here, but as I said, no, never mind. Smokey still gets the save, and KCG Paradox keep their 1-goal lead. Now Barrett trying for the shot, gonna be put off to the side by Karma. Barrett trying to pass out. Karma gets it clear. Killer is waiting, but he doesn't have any boost to take a well-placed shot. And Smokey can take his time with this one. No reset, but he just stalls a little bit more time for Karma to get into position. Killer going to have this off of his own sidewall. He's just going to get another pass, but the passing plays, as I said, haven't been working out too well. But as I say it, as the curse comes alive, Barrett with an excellent double tap. And when you give him the space like Smokey just did, that's easily placed by Barrett.
That could be a series-changing goal right there. When you can get a goal that nice, that consistent, you mentioned it. Rain Esports have struggled in the passing. That one, though, really a perfect first touch on off to the back wall. It's one of those ones that is second nature for the players of Rain Esports. With the level that they're at, with the kind of teams they play against so often. That is a series-changing goal, though. Could be a huge momentum shift. It's tied, but I feel like Rain Esports now believe they really do have an opportunity. They've got to get the ball, though. Big save for Barrett. He won't take the boost either. Right on net. Killer's got the bump. It's in! Rain Esports from coast to coast. What a way to pull yourself back in it.
And it all comes down to if Barrett can get to that ball on time, and he just does get to it before it rolls into his net, and that gives him an excellent bounce off of the corner to find a full field clear, and they take the lead, but can they keep it? That is something that we have been questioning the past couple of games so far for Rain Esports, as they haven't been able to find the lead in these last few games. Now that they have it, how are they going to play? Are they going to play just as aggressive as we expect them to, or will they turtle up a little bit? Seems like aggressive is the play, as Barrett immediately gets the fourth goal for Rain Esports, and they get a 2-goal lead.
You said it as well. It's a bit of a risky play for them to go upfield, considering their issues offensively have been on overcommits, giving away easy goals. But they need to play aggressive. There's still a lot of time left in this game. More than enough for KCG to make the comeback happen. We haven't seen KCG down too often in this series. Their playstyle's one where they like to go up early and sort of play the defense afterwards. Right now, though, they're not given that chance. It'll be Karma to the side wall. Well, miss from Barrett. Take on the challenge from Killer. Wow, what a 50-50. That was so aggressive from Karma, and Smokey can walk this one in. And as I said, there's absolutely time for a comeback here, and with plays like that, KCG Paradox are going to give themselves a whole lot of opportunities.
And Killer was in a really rough situation there, knowing that they were both on the side of KCG Paradox. Don't want to let a 50 get past you, and unfortunately just can't find the right touch to keep control of that ball. And now 1 goal, as you just said, definitely easy enough for KCG Paradox to find 1 goal, but they might have to find more, as Killer trying to put a shot to the top bar. They're gonna find this demo, and you can see Killer playing a little bit more aggressive up in the opponent's net. Smokey with possession. Can he pop it past Killer? No, Killer plays it on the ground. Karma trying for the sidewall skim, but it's not going to be able to get the angle, and Smokey just going to have to play this back from his own corner once again, and time ticking down for KCG Paradox to tie this one up.
It's in 30 seconds now. They're desperately needed something. They're chasing at this point. Rain Esports is more than happy to let them do so, but you don't want to give them too many good looks. Barrett will clear again. Held back by Karma, who potentially could have left that for Smokey instead. It's his ball, though. Karma, who's got 2 of the 3 goals this game so far for KCG. But all the time, he's taking up the clock right now, just trying to dribble this ball down the field. He wasted a lot of seconds doing that. In comes the demo, but it's a little bit late here. Kept up. Maybe one last chance to play for it. Smokey, well, he doesn't put it near the wall. There's really no play to make in that position. Kept up still. Karma's got to go, but he won't see it. We have Game 6 up next. Rain Esports, stay in it.
Well played from Rain Esports, and maybe a little bit of hesitation from KCG. Maybe the nerves are getting to them a little bit, maybe not expecting to be in such a good position against Rain Esports in this series. And I always like to say the hardest game to win is the last one for the series, and it's proving to be true once again, as Rain Esports have finally found what works against KCG Paradox, but can they keep it up for another 2 games?
Yeah, that's the question. Can they keep it up? It's so tough to win 3 games in a row. They're having to go through it here. They're having to go through quite the battle back. find it interesting. We haven't even talked about tactical timeouts. These teams haven't used any, and I don't think they're going to either. We'll see, obviously, if things change. I wouldn't be surprised if KCG uses it if we were to go to a Game 7. But at this point, we go to Game 6. You still feel like KCG Paradox are the better team right now, are the team favored, but I mean, Esports absolutely are giving themselves a chance, giving themselves some hope here, and maybe, just maybe, I mean, it's absolutely possible that they can make the comeback happen. Game 6 up next. Here we go. KRA and Esports, again, still match point against them. They will have match point against them for the rest of this series, but now, with how close this series is, there's light at the end of the tunnel here. Game 7 is not too far away if Rain Esports can just be consistent.
And momentum is one heck of a drug, I like to say, but talking about momentum, the start of this game, momentum will be going to KCG Paradox. I thought Rain Esports might find something here, but Killer is in such an awkward position off of that corner. That's going to be a bit of a giveaway within the first 13 seconds. If you're Rain Esports, you just shake that off and go for the next kickoff, but you really got to play careful as you don't want to allow another goal at this early on in the game.
A double fake kickoff there. I'm surprised we haven't seen any yet so far. These teams both willing to go for one. He'll now be sent infield. Oh, Smokey had a tough time with that, but it's a smart play away. He'll let Karma take it, and now he'll take the boost. Rain Esports gonna have to be smart about this as Barrett. I don't like that touch at all. He really left Killer in a bad spot, because for Killer there, if he doesn't go, it's a 2-on-1 the other way. If he does go, which he does, Barrett doesn't have the boost to recover here. Well, both Barrett and Killer have had their awkward looks at the start of this game. It was Killer off the corner who really shouldn't have gone for that touch off the corner to begin with. And it's Barrett now going for a flip reset position where he just he has to know that he can't go for that ball. Rain Esports, it's those mistakes, it's that nerves coming back again. It can't show up in a game like this with how close this matchup is. You've got to find your consistency, and you gotta prevent those kind of mistakes from happening, because every single time KCG's gonna score on them, and now they're up by 2. We mentioned before how we've seen before KCG win with only scoring 2 goals in a game. It could absolutely be possible here if Rain Esports doesn't turn up the heat.
Yeah, we also saw, though, Rain Esports down in that last game as well, but then coming back, getting that 4 goals to secure themselves a Game 6 in the first place. Definitely think that if it's up to anybody here to make a comeback, Killer and Barrett are probably the most likely to be able to do so. But they are going to have to fight against this absolute wall of a defense that Paradox has had, and Smokey actually in a really rough position. And that's something that I've noticed from Rain Esports is they're a little far back in these situations where Paradox is uncomfortable, and it's been really hard to find easy goals for them. Meanwhile, KCG Paradox, they've been doing a really good job of prioritizing when their opponents are making mistakes and finding very simple goals to go into the back of the net. As you said earlier, it doesn't matter how flashy the goal is, it just matters that it's in the first place.
Yeah, I like what you mentioned as well about Rain Esports not having that follow-up touch. So often what they're trying to do is force out the defenders of KCG, let the second player come in for a shot, but you said it, they've been too passive for a lot of this tournament. They've just been waiting too much, and that means as a second player back, you're never really going to get a chance. You have to be willing to take it. You have to be in ways, well, yeah, defenders, second players have to be pessimistic, but you got to be smart about the way you challenge and when you do it. As here goes Barrett trying to get one back. They'll be kept up by Smokey. Karma to the side wall. It's sent away, but it's actually straight back to Killer. Up he goes. Past one. Killer to Barrett. There's no chance he misses from there. Half the game left. Rain Esports need more plays like that.
Yeah, that was absolutely great from Killer there. Passing it off of the back wall instead of looking for the shot himself. And you can see that they were just lurking. Low boost on the side of KCG Paradox, and not much they could do besides jump and pray that that shot doesn't go into the back of the net or it goes directly at their car. I've seen it before, but Rain Esports, they know how to place the ball a little bit more than that, but oh my goodness. I lost my words for a second, and as I did, Rain Esports tie this up. Barrett gets the reset, fakes it down to the ground, and Karma was expecting the shot, and that's just going to allow Killer to come in for an open goal.
Well, we saw that once before earlier with KCG Paradox being the benefactors. It happens. You see those fakes on flip resets. So often it works at this level because players are expecting the shot, the early shot. Here we go. Late in the game. Oh, KCG almost had a goal there. Smokey nearly snuck one by. He'll get another look at it. But this game is gone. No goals yet for Karma, who's taking a bit of a back seat here on Neo Tokyo. A game for KCG Paradox, so I'm sure the pressure's on them a little bit more than they have had it before. Be a tough moment to swallow for Karma, who said he played so well. He's played lights out this series, but this game a step back from his usual high-level consistency, and Rain Esports are confident enough they can get another goal. That's not going to help them, though. Smokey with the touchdown field. He'll have the boost. He won't have the ball, though. It's double commit again for Rain Esports. Killer jumping in. That net's vulnerable. Where was the defense? A wide open net for Smokey. And you wonder where Rain Esports was. Both players hanging out in the corner. And just nobody with the presence of mind to get back.
And you saw Killer was challenging from goal side there. I don't think he was expecting Barrett to go for the ball in that corner. I think he just wanted to take it out smoothly, lower to the ground, and that's going to make Rain Esports pay for their mistakes. As KCG now up in the lead once again. They just need to play their good defense that they've done all series long, and they could take this series. They got to be careful, though. They have been prone to overcommitting in these sort of situations, and they're both playing very close up to that net. As you saw just there, Barrett could almost look for a counterattack on his own.
Killer will get up to this one. Jumped in by Karma. Barrett's got a net. He'll go. The overcommit is true. Rain Esports are back in it.
And yeah, just as we were just talking about, those overcommits just a little too far for KCG Paradox and Rain Esports. They have time and time again been able to put a shot far behind the opponents to get just a rolling ball in. Those are mistakes that you're really going to have to kind of stop, especially this late in the series. We're almost to a Game 7 at this point, and a lot of it is due to those sort of overcommits. So if we do get to a Game 7, you have to then think, if you're KCG Paradox, do we continue on with the same strategy? But if you stop that strategy, then you're going to play too passive. So you're kind of stuck in a rut here. If you're KCG Paradox, you just need to try and find another opening. As Karma going to try and slot this past one. Smokey going to look for the redirect, but Barrett can throw it all the way downfield. And with the last 10 seconds, it looks like we might have overtime once again.
Rain Esports here of the offense. What a big demo. Out of position is Smokey. And he's got the boost, though. He'll slow things down. KCG. Ooh, almost gave that one away. We'll just let it hit the floor. You knew Smokey was going to go for something on that play. Unfortunately, just didn't read it correctly here. And, well, for KCG Paradox, they're one goal away from taking the tournament, taking the division here in Progressive. But it's Rain Esports. One goal away themselves from a Game 7, and potentially what would be on the route to a 3-game comeback. Net is vulnerable. Smokey to clear. 2-on-1 the other way. Barrett's in trouble. Smokey on one. It's kept out to the side. Rain Esports will hold again. It's Killer. Well, he's got a flick by one. Karma. Gotta be careful he doesn't get removed. Cannot leave Smokey on his own in that position. In the midfield again. Who'll go for it? It's Karma. Still no goals this game. Might be able to win this anyway. Smokey, too high. Barrett won't have it, but there's no pressure on. Killer again. He'll leave it up. Barrett, Willie, he won't. Smokey's got an easy touch, and all everybody's doing is waiting for that one play. Net is open. Karma to end it. It's over. KCG, champions of 2v2.
And who else but the MVP of this match, Karma, putting in the one goal that they got this game to put it to match point. KCG Paradox, well played here in the grand finals. They came in as the underdogs and were able to take it in a thrilling 6-game series. I'm very impressed by Smokey and Karma and their performance tonight.
It came down to the nerves and the defense here. That's where KCG won it in a Game 6 where Karma really didn't show up all that much. It's his goal that ends it. This was a series that was marked by a few key things. Mistakes, and then defensive consistency. And we saw that consistency struggle at times for Rain Esports. This is a series they lost in the middle portion, not the end. And it came down to those defensive mistakes, and their lack of consistency on defense. KCG just had a different level today. They didn't make as many errors, and when they were pressed on defense, they did a pretty good job at repelling Rain Esports, a team that's normally so willing to just go up and be aggressive. KCG, though, who win the championship, a 4-2 series victory as well. And for Crusty Gaming, who, again, until today, hadn't had a team win a championship today, they can celebrate happily because Paradox will take the Progressive division.
And what a storyline to come into this series with. You're playing against the team that you played week one, took it all the way to a game five, barely lost against them, but you get the comeback, you get the revenge where it matters most in the grand finals. Neo Tokyo ends it, and Smokey and Karma, they just looked really great. This game in particular, Smokey was kind of the highlight of the team. Karma took a little bit of a backseat, but during the rest of the series, it was Karma scoring the goals, being in the right position on the defensive line. Uh, I gotta say, he's the MVP for me going into the or going out of the grand finals. But I mean, my goodness, what a series. I'm just happy that we had some really good Rocket League.
Yeah, as well, I will say as well, it was and so it was so often like a lot of series, a little nervy at times, a little tough for these teams. But yeah, you talk about Karma being that anchor for this team. So often, the best players in playoff matches aren't the players that are going to do the flashy stuff. It's the players who just do the simple things and don't make things easy. You saw just how comfortable KC Paradox got under the pressure of Esports were never really fully able to acclimate the same. And yeah, what a great day here for KCG Paradox and for the Cross Progression League. Of course, the tournament's not over. There's still a couple leagues left, but considering the way that playoffs have gone at this point, we're nearing the end of this season, and for KCG Paradox, they'll be amongst the top in the CPL Alpha and Omega 2v2 season. What a tournament it has been here, EclipticFades. What a match as well. And considering this is almost certainly going to be my last in Cross Progression League this season, what a season. It's been an absolute honor to be here. As I'm sure you would say the same as well. Really, again, just thank you to all the teams that signed up, to Krusty for letting me be here, for the league itself, for all the support, the staff that have been in that league. It's been an amazing time, but yeah, that's it from me. It's been an amazing season, and I'm happy that this match was the last one I got to stream.
Yeah, and I mean, I've only been here for a couple of weeks, ever since week five of league play, and it's been a blast so far. We've gotten to cast some incredible matches with some excellent players that I've never gotten to see before, and a skill level that I've never really gotten to experience with some of my other casting, both on the high end and the lower end in some of these divisions too, such as the Challengers division. And all of these brackets have been amazing. All of these matches have been awesome to witness. And there's only, I believe, one more match to be had in the entire season. And I believe that is the winners of the Liminal A and Liminal B brackets are going to be playing a grand final. And I'm sure that's going to be one to watch for the ages, especially for those in that division. There's always some great gameplay happening for CPL. And I'm just so excited to see what happens after this. I can't wait for the next league to start. I can't wait to hopefully find some more games to cast and see more incredible gameplay. But yeah, I believe that's going to be it for tonight, guys. Congratulations once again to the progressive winners in KCG Paradox. And yeah, I believe this is going to be the last one for me this season as well. So thanks everybody for the support, for coming out and watching the streams. Thank you again to Sporty FC here for co-casting this grand finals with me. It's been a great time, and I hope to do it again soon.
Yeah, as well. Thank you all so much for joining us. Have an amazing rest of the night, and good luck to the teams in the Liminal Championship.
Have a good night, everybody.